he's not gonna care. Because it's gonna be us guys that find him, not Billy and Charlie Hogan in a boosted car. They'll probably pin a medal on you, Vern.
Stand By Me is returning to theaters this month via the great folks at Fathom Events for its 35th anniversary this summer. I know this is hardly the first thing you worked on, but what is the first thing you remember about this project coming into your life? I mean, how old were you? And did it feel special from the get-go for you?
Important context, I think, is that I didn't want to be an actor when I was a kid. My parents forced me to do it. My mother made me do it. My mother coached me to go into her agency and tell the children's agent, I want to do what mommy does. And then through a combination of incredible emotional abuse from my father and a lot of manipulation using me from my mother, like really put me in that place, which, as it turns out, put me in exactly the right place to play Gordie, because Gordie's experience very much reflected my experience. We're both invisible in our homes. We both have a brother who is the golden child. We're both the scapegoat in the family. So when I watch Stand By Me now, I cannot ignore the unbelievable sadness in my eyes, and I cannot ignore the reality that it was that sadness, that isolation, that I think gave me what Gordie needed to come to life. And I think Rob Reiner saw that. And one of the reasons I believe Stand By Me is so enduring is that Rob cast 4 young boys who were our characters. And Corey was just such a pain in the ass. And I said to Rob, why did you cast him? And Rob said, there was no other actor who was as angry as Corey was. And Teddy is filled with anger and rage. And I went, oh my God, that totally makes sense. River is smarter than all of us and wiser beyond his years than any of us are. And that's exactly who Chris is. And Jerry is unbelievably funny and really easy to get along with and is guileless. Oh my God, that's Vern. I guess I want to be a writer, so that makes me Gordie. I never realized until I was in like my 40s that I was Gordie because I was Gordie.
River's death was such a tragic, sad loss for movie fans. I can't imagine how tough that was for friends and family. I mean, you always hear such good things about him, but can you share some of your favorite memories with him?
The day that I knew River had been through some that I could never understand was when we do the scene around the campfire where he's telling me the story of the milk money.
And I could go someplace where nobody knows me.
He knew how to just turn the character on and off all the time. And I remember Rob coming over, River and I were sitting there on the set. And Rob came over to him and he said, how can I help you? And River said, I don't know what to do. And Rob said, think about a time you really needed an adult to be there for you and they weren't. And I watched this thing happen to River where that had happened to him. That had happened to him a lot. And I watched the emotion of that fill him and begin to spill over, and Rob rolled the camera and the next take is in the movie. Rob did a similar thing, less intense, when we were running away from the train on the train trestle. Jerry and I just weren't terrified enough because we knew we were safe. And it is the only time he ever raised his voice to any of us. He says to Jerry and me, he yells to Jerry and me, it is hot, we are tired, the grips are tired, I am tired. If you are not worried about the train hitting you, then you worry about me coming and kicking your ass, or something like that. Like he was like, if that train doesn't get you, I'm gonna get you. And we were like, ah! And the next take is in the movie.
There are 2 movies that scared me out of the water when I was a kid, Jaws and Oceans, and Stand By Me in ponds, lakes, creeks, basically any other body of water. I just basically, as a child, just refused to go in any water, maybe a swimming pool. The leech scene, obviously, so iconic. What do you remember about filming that?
They dug an actual hole in the forest and lined it with plastic and then filled it up with water and then left it alone for a month or 2 months or something like that. So by the time we got there, it was pretty gross. It was pretty gross and it was pretty cold. It was pretty uncomfortable. And there's even a shot in the film where Gordie goes through the foreground out of focus, and you can see that my hair is completely dry because I was like, please don't make me get under the water again.
What were you guys using for leashes?
For the long shot, it's skateboard grip tape that is cut into patterns to look like leeches. In the close-ups, they are little latex pieces that Monty Westmore and Mike Westmore made. So what they ended up doing was mixing some blood makeup with like some rubber cement, and they put that on us to hold it on.
The film opens August 1986. Was it pretty immediate from your perspective, sort of the deep love for this movie, or was it more like a slow build?
Oh, I felt like we were telling a story that was important. I didn't feel like I was making disposable entertainment, which was a weird kind of sophisticated way for a 13-year-old to think, but I just had this kind of like fundamental acceptance that if I did a movie, it was going to be released. Most movies don't get released. And if they do get released, they are forgotten. The popularity and critical and popular acclaim for Stand By Me came very quickly and like almost all at once. And I recall thinking, oh, this is so cool. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I'll see you. Not if I see you first.